Well, the World Economic Forum wants you to eat bugs, and you may already be eating bugs. So last year, the World Economic Forum posted this report telling all of us that we really need to embrace the role that insects can play in our food system. Now, some of the arguments that they made are that insects require much less feed and much less space and much less water to harvest. And so they sort of are a protein pack for their punch. Did I get that right? They're punch for the pack.
They're full of protein, and you need to move away from meat, right? This is part of the plan. It's better for the planet. We're going to move away from meat, and you're going to start eating bugs as a source of protein. Hey, really poor countries are doing this already in Africa. So why don't rich liberals on the coasts of America start eating bugs, right?
Well, they didn't say, anybody could be eating bugs, right? But it's sort of this new way to talk about like, oh, well, I'm self-sacrificing enough to try this new thing, right? Now, I am the kind of person who does not really abide picky eaters. Like if you are one of my children, there's no take it or leave it. There's a just take it, right? I don't like it when people sort of like, oh, I don't like that. I'm really quite mean about food.
Yeah, she is. Like if you're one of like the picky, like, we can't go to this.
So-and-so doesn't eat this. And I'm like, so-and-so, you're going to.
Well, then so-and-so's not coming with us. Right. We're going to go have a delicious fish dinner tonight or whatever.
Yes. So I don't abide that kind of stuff, but I do sort of question. I want to take a pause before we all embrace this idea of eating bugs.
Okay, well, let's unpack this a little bit more here, because that was the report from the World Economic Forum last year. Now, I think we are watchdogs of the mainstream media here on this show, because Natalie and I spent many years in the mainstream media. I was a news anchor for almost 20 years. I worked at Fox News for the last 10 years of my life. I worked at NBC, CBS. I worked at all of them, right? In the last 10 years I spent at the network. And it was amazing to see these publications almost immediately after this report came out and then spread over a number of months. All of these like mainstream World Economic Forum publications just started printing news articles about it. All of these people who rub shoulders with these people. Here's an example. Why eat bugs? Like this was an article that was printed about it. Now you started to see all these new, here's The Guardian. If we want to save the planet, the future of food is insects, The Guardian wrote. By the way, how far has The Guardian fallen? What about the BBC? Could grasshoppers really replace beef, says the BBC? I could literally go on hundreds of articles. Here's Time Magazine. They're healthy. They're sustainable. So why don't humans eat more bugs? Great question, Time Magazine. Here's another one. This one is from, this is Forbes. Eating insects could cut your environmental impact by more than 80%, says a Finnish study, right? So now what's beautiful about...
Okay, but I want to put a pause on that number for a second. Okay,
maybe we're on the same thing here. 80. So when I see a study like that, I always want to dig into like, where do they get their funding, right? Where do these Finnish studies come from? Is it in part funded by the World Economic Forum or a subsidiary of the World Economic Forum that they basically bankroll these studies? So now we have a bunch of studies that are out there.
Okay.
Well, this study says that eating bugs is good.
But when people talk about reducing their environmental impact by their dietary choices, that doesn't mean that it reduces their entire environmental impact by 80%. It means it reduces your food-related environmental impact.
So what do you mean?
So, an average person, right, your environmental impact consists of all kinds of things. Your phone, that you most of the energy of your phone comes from the manufacturing and the cell towers, not from plugging it in or using it really. Your phone, your car, right? Going to the grocery store, using your Wi-Fi, using water, whatever. Your food-related environmental impact is only about 10% of the average person's entire carbon footprint. So you might reduce by eating bugs or eating vegetarian or whatever, you will reduce your 10% to maybe 5%. Or in this case, if eating bugs is going to reduce your environmental impact by 80%, then that means it's really only reducing your environmental impact down to 2%. It's only taking 10%, 8%. sorry, 80% off the 10%. Do you see what I'm saying?
I didn't know that there was going to be math on tonight's show.
So what I'm saying is that your dietary habits, no matter who you are, only really account for about 10% of your footprint. So no dietary choices can reduce your overall.
So if you're vegan, you're like, I'm a good person, I'm vegan.
Right? You're only reducing your impact of the 10% that is food related, is what I'm saying, according to the research by Bjorn Lundberg.
Okay. So then if you're vegan, you're like, I'm doing great for the earth. Okay. Then also let's talk about the phone that you're using. Let's talk about.
Then you should not have a phone.
The only thing that would maybe, okay, you in the clothes that you're getting, whatever, you should just wear a burlap sack. Like if you literally are vegan and you like sleep in a burlap sack, then maybe then you can be a little bit more sanctimonious. Am I right?
You know what I want to say?
Am I right?
I feel sorry sorry for the country where the bugs that we're going to like the most, like let's say all of a sudden Americans all want Madagascar hissing cockroaches on their sandwiches. Watch out, Madagascar, because we are coming for you.
Oh,
Right.
you say Madagascar. Yeah. I've got a little nugget. I've got a little chicken. I've got a little cockroach nugget about Madagascar in a moment. So that's exactly where one of the areas.
Well, I'm not saying you should not be a vegetarian. I'm saying that you should not throw around this being a vegetarian reduces your footprint by 50%. It does not. It's only your food related footprint. So the same has to be said of bugs. So even if you can reduce your footprint by 80%, it's only your food related footprint, right?
Well,
Yes.
not necessarily, because let's say you are going to the grocery store now and you have an environmental footprint of your gasoline use or whatever, but you start getting the bugs in your backyard, you don't have to go anywhere. So it could lessen the footprint of your travel and things like that. So it could have a little bit more of an impact, but you would have to be very.
This is all, but you're assuming you serve no bugs with accoutrement, right?
Meaning condiments.
Like you're not going to fry it in oil. You have the oil, you have the salt, you have the everything that
I'm
goes
just
with
going out in
it.
the yard, grabbing bugs and
This is your whole diet.
Right. He's like Gilligan.
if that's where we got to go, if that's saving the planet, I'm in.
Okay, I don't think that's what we're talking about.
Says the man that's on the carnivore diet. So yeah, not going to happen. But I just want to kind of, that's a great point about the numbers. That's a great point about so when people see these numbers, as Bjorn Lundberg points out, like you got to question this, right? That's our point of our show, question everything. But also the other side of this is when you see these studies, well, this Finnish study tells us this. Yeah. Well, where did the money come from for this study? Who's funding these studies? It's like Coca-Cola funding that sugar is okay for you studies, right? Oh, this study comes to us from Coca-Cola. So always question these things. Make sure you ask where the sources are.
There's a bug lobby now?
Most likely.
Yes.
I bet there is.
So here's the bug lobby, right? So we saw all the publications falling in lockstep immediately with this World Economic Forum, and it's been growing and growing and growing. And now manufacturers are also including it in their foods, which we'll get to in a moment. And you might have already been eating them and not even known about it because you haven't read the ingredients. But a number of celebrities now and mainstream media are getting on board with this. They're doing segments about it. They're normalizing this idea that we should all be eating bugs to save the planet. Here's just a roundup on of a group of celebrities, like from Nicole Kidman to Salma Hayek, eating bugs. Watch this.
Want to share a spider?
Can I make one without
It's actually really good, the flavor.
One ones. They're still alive. Extraordinary.
It's ants. Yeah. The answer is really good.
These are crickets from Mexico, from Oaxaca.
Yeah, that's Salma Hayek. So she's eating crickets, right? And so crickets.
Actually, my sister says in Mexico they eat crickets pretty regularly. That's already part of their cuisine.
Okay, great.
That's why That's why when you're in Mexico, you do not hear this sound.
There's no crickets at night.
Okay,
they're eating them all.
Are like, shh. Yeah.
So,
don't make noise,
because they're coming for us. So again, that was just the celebrities. Now, and also you had this on CNN. So CNN doing segments about this. Watch.
You ready?
Cheers.
Actually, I'm less scared of this. Okay. Oh, the crunch. Do I have a wing
Why the
hanging out of my
gloves?
mouth?
See, this is all
why do you
normal
need to
now.
eat that with gloves?
Right,
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
And then the other day, I saw this on the Late Show, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. You had Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, who is now, pushing this. So we've been seeing this like protein drink, like cricket protein drink, right? And sure enough, and there you go. Like he's on there hawking this protein drink. Listen.
This is a powder derived from the mealworm, and it's a insect protein just been approved by the EU for human consumption. The making of it is severely reducing the amount of emissions it takes. If we make this switch, it's a huge intervention.
Oh, it's a huge intervention
So
in the
from
planet.
Iron Man to Protein Man.
Right. I mean, and you see it, right? I just want people to be aware when they're watching this show that when you see something like this coming from the World Economic Forum, and then you suddenly start seeing publications from The Atlantic to all the articles we just showed you, Forbes, all of these things, they're all suddenly printing articles about this kind of crap.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they get money or they're involved in this somehow, right? So when people say, oh, this is a conspiracy theory level stuff, it's not, because now it's showing up in food, which we'll get to. I saw someone in the chat just saying, what about chitins, right? So this is...
I think it might be called chitins, but I'm not sure.
So there's a problem.
Chitins.
Chitins. Okay.
Oh.
We'll ask our molecular biologist on staff, Philip, who is. So chitins. So can you tell us about these chitins? And then I have a soundbite I want to play about the problem with this stuff.
Yes, in fact. So chitins, thank you, Philip, for that, are something that are in most insects and have been known to be an allergy-promoting pathogen. This, according to the journal, the Clinical Reviews and Allergy and Immunology. Can you put that on the screen, Philip? So you can see that it is being researched and has been shown to have a potential allergy-promoting pathogen that can have a negative response on the human immune system through inflammation.
So let's play a little sound of exactly how this reacts in the body, basically as a toxin. Listen.
It's been shown contain a substance called chitin. There's a meme going around. You sort of see this stuff and you think, oh, is this fear-mongering? Is this true? But I've looked into it and it's actually true, folks. There's a lot of evidence that insects contain chitins. Chitins are very, very bad for humans. Chitins cause all sorts of problems, asthma, respiratory problems, all the things we're seeing from the jab. It also causes this thing called glioblastoma, which is a spinal cancer. Comes from chitins, and chitins cannot be cooked out of insects. There's no processing that will take these substances out of the insects. When you eat the insects, you are eating chitins. Chitins cannot be processed by the human body. We don't eat insects, folks. Birds, chickens, lizards, reptiles, these things eat insects. Fish eat insects. We don't eat insects. We don't have the digestive system to be able to process certain things that are found in insects, such as chitins. And like I said, they can't be processed out. They cannot be cooked out. They are always there. So if you're eating little...
In his book, Bjorn Lundberg talks about how a lot of countries, they do eat, either they are vegetarian or they eat insects, but that is out of necessity. And as you see countries become wealthier, they stop that and they eat sort of what you and I would recognize as meat. Philip, do you want to ring in on that pathology piece or his pronunciation of chitin? Is that okay?
Yeah,
with you?
his pronunciation was it was because it was I think it's the British pronunciation. At least when I learned it was chitin. So
okay.
I admit that I could be wrong. I'm not.
And what did you learn about it?
Well, what I know about them, that's usually found in the insect shell. It's actually it's also found in certain because I'm actually allergic to chitin, and so I have an allergy to most mushrooms. And so, like, getting thrown, I have to watch anytime I'm buying, like, if I'm buying a vegan meat substitute, I have to look for mycoprotein written on it because they won't put mushrooms. So I also need to find like what they secretly call bugs if they're going to start throwing them in there because I know that I actually am allergic to chitin.
Wow. According to this allergy, a lot of it is over my head because it's an allergy publication, but it did say that it's sort of on par with dust mite allergies.
Yeah. And we also have some foods that we wanted to show here. These are actual foods that you can find in the store that already have this in it. You might not even know that you're eating this crap. So a doctor, Dr. Sean Baker, a doctor on Twitter, pointed out that his sustainable cheese puffs have cricket flour in it as one of the main ingredients.
Okay.
In fact, the parent company Actually Food says it's on a mission to make cricket-based foods the first choice for individuals interested in high-quality, sustainable protein. You can see it there, cricket flour. So now you can eat cricket flour. And
I just want to say, I don't think there is a healthier way to eat cheese puffs. Like any kind of puffed carbohydrate is going to spike your insulin.
What about a cheese ball? Like when you would go to like Walmart, when you go to Walmart and you get one of those giant things of cheese balls.
Whether it has bugs or not, you should not. I'm not telling you what not to eat, but you should not delude yourself that there's a healthier way to do that.
Because those cheese balls come from a cheese ball tree. So I'm totally fine eating that.
Is that the case?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's another protein bar that you can get. This one is a Exo protein bar made from the skeleton. So this one, Philip, you probably would not be able to eat because it has chitin in it, right? Hunter Becken, which Exo
Correct.
protein savory meal bar should I consume? I love this as like this is like an influencer, right? Hey, Hunter Becken, which Exo protein savory meal bar should I consume first? Is it the barbecue, the Mediterranean, or the mango curry?
Now we
Exo
poke
protein?
fun, but it's not like we don't collectively want a food source that is better for the planet. Of course we want that, right? And that is going to take innovation. And this is one form of innovation, is looking towards bugs. Sure. Is this the form that's going to save the planet? I don't know,
Phil,
right?
do you have that
I'm
B-roll?
I'm not thrilled about it.
Philip, do you have that B-roll that I put in here of this? I forgot to label it, but I showed the processing of these bugs. I didn't put it in the craft, but I don't know if we have it or
I didn't
not.
find it in there.
But anyway, they show the processing of these Madagascar crickets, and they're putting them through like a meat grinder, grinding them up into like a pulp.
Alive?
And, no, they're dead, and then they put them into an oven, which they're then cooking into a cracker, and then the cracker, then you put like they roll them up with like some kind of cheese. So you're eating like this cricket crushed cracker. That's what's going to be your healthy Triscuit from now on.
My question is, you can't slaughter crickets in the same way you do like a mammal, right? And so how do you mass slaughter something that's tiny in order to process it without chemicals, right? Because, my father is a landscape contractor, and anytime he sees like we have something in the garden, he's like, use some chemicals. I'm like, no, Dad, no pesticides, right? So most of the industry in the Western world is going towards preventing these things from living. So now we're saying that there's another strain of them that has not been affected by all of the chemicals we leash on them. Mm-hmm. That's not the right word. We unleash on them, right? And that these are okay to eat. But are we going to then like mass them live, or how do we kill something that's so small in mass quantity without chemicals? I have a lot of questions. I still have a lot of questions.
Yeah, and also it's like we always see what they do. They go in and they make these decisions, and then they go mass do this stuff, and they don't think. It's like when they removed the wolves from Yellowstone Park. It's like once the erosion started happening, the deer population got out of control, and there's probably keystone bugs as well. I mean, look at bees. Look how important bees are to our whole life. Everything that we eat and everything. The bees are so important, and they don't think about the blowback of like mass killing a certain bug because we're going to eat it or whatever. So I think the repercussions of this, I think the only solution is if they just give us all spears and stuff again, and we go out and we hunt our own food, we grow our own vegetables, and they don't even have grocery stores anymore, and we're just every man for himself.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's saying, like
I think
the
that's
innovation.
the only sustainable.
Yeah,
Anthony in the chat says they use a big ass bug zapper.
Right. It's just constantly going off.
That's
You're like sitting
dinner.
there like starving, and you're just waiting to hear that sound. Oh my gosh, lunch.
Maybe we can get the military-industrial complex on this, because I know that's how they would love to figure this out. They would love to be able to get some
can't wait to
extra
meet
money.
my first. Can't wait to meet my first cricket farmer. Like, so what do you do? I'm a cricket farmer.
for eating.
For eating. I mean, I bet go to like Madagascar and you'd absolutely find them there. That's exactly what they're doing.
You got to think about it. Those people would be like, you'd walk up to their house and they'd be insane because all they hear is that cricket noise all day long. They're like,
It'd be like tinnitus, or maybe they would just like block it out, right?
Right.
I'm gonna actually, I might look into that because I might become one of the like 17-year cicada farmers, and then I'll just like, do a bit of work 1 year and then take 16 years off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down.
There you go.
I'm gonna sell 25-year-old Madagascar hissing cockroaches, like aged bugs.
Aged, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a fine aged bug. And that's coming. That's coming.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, that
I'm gonna be an
CNN
artisan.
that CNN clip that we showed, that was one of those 17-year cicadas. That's what she was eating. And they were talking about, like, you can eat them as well, like prepare them because they're here. It's a delicacy. Eat them. 17 years. You can eat them every 17 years.
I don't want to act like I'm above it. I'm not.
You don't have to apologize for everything.
Have a lot of questions.
We are on the same, we should be questioning this. Like, it's not, there's a reason it creeps us out.
Yeah.
Right? We have an innate feeling that we're creeped out by eating bugs. Like when a bug enters your mouth, you don't want to eat it, right?
That's true.
Right?
Like when I'm riding my bicycle and a bug flies in my mouth, I don't enjoy it.
Like we have babies, right? When a baby pops out, they have like a baby pops out in a pool, right? You ever see that, like a woman giving birth, like in a pool, and the baby like starts swimming.
Yeah.
And then isn't it amazing? Right? There's innate, right? It's the same thing. Like if you ever took if I was a baby, if you just took like a little piece of like pepperoni and just kind of waved it in front of a baby's face, that baby's eyes are going to light up.
Actually, my sister, when she was a baby, my mom sprayed a spider with Raid and sprayed the shit out of it. So the spider was like frozen with Raid, and my sister crawled over and put it in her mouth.
That explains.
And my mom had to call poison control and almost gagged. And she was like, give it up, spiders.
Don't use.
So don't eat bugs with Raid, first of all.
No. So I did this on Facebook this morning. I said, whenever there's a big story in the media, look for the story they're trying to distract you from. And so when I see all these companies and all these different things happening and all these people getting on board and mass talking about this stuff, I start, what is it they're actually trying to do? Why are they making this move?
Yeah.
There's got to be an answer somewhere. We might not know what it is yet, but something is going on because so many are getting on board with it.
Yeah, well, it's the World Economic Forum, buddy, and they're pushing this agenda to. And by the way, when all of this hit, right, we suddenly started seeing a higher tax on meat, like the meat tax. The meat tax and all of these articles started hitting about why we should eat bugs. That's our new protein source. Let's include it into our different protein meal bars. So you're going to see more of this.